Since gaining independence from the French in 1956, Tunisian education sector has shown great progress. The government of Tunisia has focused on developing an education system which produces a solid human capital base that could respond to the changing needs of a developing nation. Sustained structural reform efforts since the early 1990s, prudent macroeconomic policies, and deeper trade integration in the global economy have created an enabling environment for growth. This environment has been conducive to attain positive achievements in the education sector, which placed Tunisia ahead of countries with similar income levels, and in a good position to achieve MDGs. According to the HDI 2007, Tunisia is ranked 90 out of 182 countries and is ranked 4th in MENA region, just below Israel, Lebanon, and Jordan. Education is the #1 priority of the government of Tunisia, with more than 20% of government's budget allocated for education in 2005-06. As of 2006, the public education expenditure as a percentage of GDP stood at 7%. Education sector reforms. Tunisian education system was built on the French model, therefore, the focus of the education reformers was to Arabize curriculum and faculty at nation's schools and universities. Tunisia adopted a phased approach towards Arabization. Given the number of Francophone nationals and the absence of qualified Arabized teachers to teach scientific subjects, policymakers maintained French both as foreign language and as a medium of instruction for math and science in primary education. Humanities and social sciences were Arabized incrementally, initially in primary and subsequently in secondary education. In the 1970s, the decision was made to extend Arabization to all subjects in post-primary education, except vocational, professional, and technical tracks. At the university level, French was maintained as the language of instruction in technical institutes and science faculties. There have also been several other reforms since independence to further improve the education system at all levels. 1. Education is an important law that actually passed in 1958 emphasized technical and vocational education, and the training of a new breed of educators who are qualified to teach the new curriculum emphasizing Arabic language, literature, Islamic thought and history and geography of the Tunisian and North African region. 2. Then a higher education law was passed that placed all government-recognized institutions of higher learning and scientific research under the umbrella of University of Tunis, an institute that was established in 1960, by incorporating several existing higher schools and institutes. 3. In the academic year of 1990-91, the new Education Act introduced an increased length of instruction at the primary and secondary levels from 12 to a total of 13 years. It also made it mandatory for students of ages between 6 to 16 years of age to attain basic education training. 4. Tunisia introduced competency-based approach in school curriculum in 2000, and revised textbooks accordingly. 5. The 2002 Education Act emphasized the importance of ICT in the education sector. Education system. The academic year runs from September to June and examinations are held in late June or early July. Early childhood care and education. Tunisian government has shown strong commitment towards preschool education. Preschool education is to be imparted in establishments or specifically designated places to the children from 3 to 6 years of age. In Tunisia, the preschool education is provided primarily in 3 settings. Kindergartens. These are socio-educational institutions that come under the supervision of Ministry of Women, Family and Childhood, and they belong to either private sector, the quasi-public local authorities, or specialist associations. There has been considerable improvement in the coverage of kindergartens from 7.1% in 1990 to 14% in 2000, but this rate is still low, primarily because most 3 to 6-year-olds do not attend kindergarten. Co-UTIBs. These religious institutions also cater for children between 3 and 5 years of age. Their task is to initiate them into learning the Quran as well as reading, writing, and arithmetic. They are under the supervision of the Ministry of Religious Affairs. Reforms have enabled to increase the number of these schools from 378 in 1987 to 961 in 2007. These kotabs host 25,194 children, 11,138 of whom are girls. They are run by muadibs, among whom 121 hold degrees in Islamic sciences, and 60 hold university degrees. A presidential project, Tomorrow Tunisia, has been launched to further support co-UTIBs so that they fulfill their education mission of consolidating values of religion. Preparatory era. It is also an integral part of basic education, but it is not compulsory. It is supervised by the Ministry of Education and Training and is provided in public, private and quasi-public primary schools. The gross enrollment rate at pre-primary has increased steadily since 2000 from 15% to 22% in 2003. Basic education enseignement-The base consists of 9 years of school education, and is divided into 2 distinct stages: 6 years of primary and 3 years of preparatory education. At the end of 9 years, students sit for Examen national de fin d'études de l'enseignement-The base, success in which leads to the Diplôme de fin d'études de l'enseignement. Students are required to score above 50% at the end of 6th grade to progress to the lower secondary level, although there is a high percentage of students who fail the important grade 6 examinations. Now, due to government efforts, the number of students who have to repeat grade 6 is decreasing. In 1991-92, 26% of students had to repeat grade 6, but in 1999-2000 that number has dropped to 18%. The dropout rate at the primary level is 6% and it halved from the dropout percentage of 12% in 2000. The gross enrollment ratio at primary and secondary is greater than 1, which shows that more girls than boys are enrolled at these two education levels. The share of private enrollment at primary level has been slowly increasing from 0.7% in 2000 to 0.9% in 2003, and in 2007 the private enrollment share was 1.4%. The gross enrollment ratio at lower secondary level in 2007 stood at 113%, a jump of about 7 percentage points from the GER in 2006. Also at the beginning of the 2007-208 school year, 9 pilot middle schools were launched to offer gifted students early care that will allow them to pursue their studies in pilot schools in scientific, literary and art fields, with competent and experienced teachers. Secondary education. The 4 years of secondary education are open to all holders of Diplôme de fin d'études de l'enseignement-The base, whether students focus on entering university level or join the workforce after completion. The enseignement secondaire is divided into 2 stages: general academic and specialized. In the academic stream, all students follow a common curriculum for 1 year, after which they choose one of the 5 specializations from language arts, sciences, and economics and management. In case the student is specializing in science at the end of the 2nd year, he must choose again, but this time between math, experimental sciences, computer sciences or technical sciences. The language of instruction in technical, scientific and mathematics fields is French. At the end of the 4th year of secondary studies, students take Examen national du baccalauréat. Students are tested on average on 6 subjects. Those students who complete the secondary cycle, but fail the baccalaureate, are awarded a certificate of completion that can later be used for entry into the workforce or for re-entry to further studies in a private school. In 1995, 42.5% of baccalaureate takers were successful. However, Tunisia has been appearing in TIMSS since 1999 and has been one of the top-performing countries in the Arab region. The Gender Parity Index of Gross Enrollment Ratio at the secondary level was 1.1% in 2006, implying higher female enrollment than male enrollment at the secondary level. Technical and vocational track professional and vocational programs are administered by the Ministry of Employment, and in more specific disciplines by individual ministries such as agriculture and tourism. Students can opt to enroll in a 2-year vocational program leading to the award of DICE, the certificate d'aptitude professional. These students who have completed the first 2 years of secondary education may enroll in 2-year vocational programs leading to the award of the brevet de technicien professional, which in turn gives access to 2-year brevet de technicien supérieur programs. The enrollment in TVET at the secondary level has also been rising since 2004. The current enrollment ratio in TVET is almost 10%, with a higher percentage of males enrolled in these programs. Higher education. The higher education system in Tunisia has experienced a rapid expansion, and the number of students has more than tripled over the past 10 years, from approximately 102,000 in 1995 to 365,000 in 2005. The gross enrollment rate at the tertiary level in 2007 was 31%. With gender parity index of GER of 1.5. The private university system in Tunisia, accounting for about 1% of students, remains small because the regulatory environment does not encourage foreign investment or the use of part-time teachers in private universities. In Tunisia in 2005-2006, there were 178 public institutions of higher education, among which there were 13 universities, 24 higher institutes of technological studies and 6 higher institutes of teachers training. The Higher Education Ministry supervises 155 institutions, and 23 are under the co-supervision of the HEM and other ministries. In addition, HEM recognizes 20 university-level private institutions. The public university system is virtually free, and student loans are not available for students enrolled in a private university, making it difficult for private universities to attract students who cannot afford to pay the fees. During the last decade, in addition to creating 7 new universities, the government of Tunisia has made progress in improving the internal efficiency of programs and pass rates in applied science programs and selected short-term programs such as at the higher institutes of technology, introducing shorter-term professional programs with more relevance, and granting greater autonomy to universities to give them the flexibility to respond to the changing environment and adapt academic programs to the needs of the economy. Access to post-secondary education is guaranteed to all students holding the diploma ZDU baccalaureate. The admission process is centrally controlled through the National University Orientation System. Although this centralized system has been criticized for its rigidity, as it leaves students unsatisfied by the disciplines they have been placed in, the pass rate of the baccalaureate is not very high in Tunisia. On average, 60% of students fail the baccalaureate each year. Recently, since 2005-06, the government has been trying to implement reform that is based on the European 3-tier model of bachelor's, master's and doctoral degrees. This reform is known as LCD, License Master's, Doctorate. The new academic credit hour system is meant to give students greater flexibility in designing their study tracks, while allowing them to earn and transfer credits between institutions both domestically and internationally. At the university level, the first cycle of studies in the academic stream is of 2 years. which leads to the award of Diplôme d'études universitaires du premier cycle. This first degree is regarded as a preparatory one. Then in most other fields, the second cycle leads to the award of maîtrise, which is considered the first degree in Tunisian university system. Later the Diplôme d'études approfondies is awarded to maîtrise holders after a further 2-year study and the preparation and defense of a thesis. D is also a prerequisite for entry into a doctoral program. Despite this progress, however, numerous challenges remain, as student enrollments in public universities are projected to increase by about 6.6% annually, reaching approximately 470,000 in 2010. While at the same time, the quality and relevance of education are in need of updating. At 2% of GDP, public spending on higher education is already higher than in most countries in the world. Unemployment among university graduates is increasing and the employability of graduates in modern, export-oriented sectors is weak. Mechanisms and incentives to promote quality at the university level are for the most part inadequate, and universities cannot fully exercise the autonomy that will help them to better respond to the changes in the labor markets and requirements of a global economy. In sum, due to the projected increase in enrollment, the GOT is faced with the challenge of meeting public demand for higher education in an equitable way, and improving quality in a cost-efficient manner, while responding to existing and new labor market needs. ICT integration in education. Tunisia is supported by international organizations, but by 2006 there were 57,000 computers. Although the presidential election program is working towards achieving 1 computer per class by 2009, it is foreseen that the number of trained teachers will increase to 80,000 in 2009 from 60,000 in 2006. All higher education institutes are connected to the Internet by El Khwarizmi Calculus Center, which is the official public Internet service provider to higher education institutes. The integration of ICT in education is further reinforced by Tunisian Virtual School and the Virtual University of Tunis. TVS Tunisia was one of the first countries in North Africa and Arab countries to pioneer in the field of distance education and e-learning through the launch of TVS in January 2002. It provides free interactive courses, revision modules, assistance and ICT training. Virtual University of Tunis. It was established as a government initiative in 2003, and it now provides 20% of the courses through e-learning. It does not cover all specialties, but it does award diplomas and certificates. There are 207 modules, representing more than 8,000 hours, that are ready for use. The university currently has 10 functional access centers, and by 2009 there will be 200. Adult education. The Tunisian government introduced the National Programme for Adult Literacy in April 2000. It is supervised by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity. To support this program, various civil society organizations and NGOs have contributed immensely to ensure that adults could gain skills useful in the current job market. For example, in 2006-2007, 5,000 young people aged below 30, 40 of whom women, took part in introductory vocational training courses.